We are live and here we are. Hello, everybody. I'm Tyler Ellison, channel for RYOKAH of the Sasanian people, and I'm joined by my amazing friend, Starshine. Starshine, how are you doing? Thank you for being here.
I'm doing very well, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I am using all eight limbs of my God form, if you know what I mean, to help the flow of my spiral continue to maintain the precision needed for these new manifestations to come in. I think you've probably experienced this. I know you've gone through some interesting life changes, right? Locationally and a few other things. And it's like, while we have these real life challenges we have to adapt, it's like the world keeps spinning, and it's like, how do you become the world tarot card, right? The beautiful woman dancing in the center of the universe, right? That's really what I think these times of fall, which are anchoring us to the earth, are asking us to tune into this connection where through grounding and feeling the Kundalini vibration of the planet, we start to hear the song of nature, the song of life. And we translate that oftentimes in a manifested form as synchronicities. Right? We see how all these different things are connected, just like different notes in a song, right? So it's a type of vibrational experience. So as we root into fall, as we get more and more connected to the earth, this is when our ability to flow effortlessly with change is increased. Just like the leaves falling from the tree has no problem letting go of the leaves. We are asked to do the same thing, to surrender the leaf and trust it's going to land on the earth, and the earth will receive it and will break it down and make it into something new. Right? This is a metaphor for whatever it is that we hold, that we are inspired to release. And this is also the attitude to have when we are faced with challenge. We always want to do our best and be willing to let go in your facing of the challenge so there's a space. That space allows for an openness of mind to be present so you may remain adaptable, strategic, and fresh in the face of your challenge. And that's a part of learning to let go. You want to be both male and female. The male is, let's hyper focus on this goal, this detail. The female is, oh, that's a great goal, but what about all of these other things? Let's look at the whole picture. We want to be able to train both perspectives, how to focus in on the challenge and also how to let go of that focus when needed so we can retreat temporarily in our minds to gain that comprehensive view. And once you get the big picture, you tunnel back in and now apply what you saw. Right? That's really what our channeling is, right? I go into the state, I bring RYOKAH forth, and in that moment, right, it's more of a feminine perspective, even though he's a male being, right? It's not so focused, it's more expanded, so we can say more. And then ultimately, the answers are where all of that expansive focus will crystallize into something precise and technical. So we see that same mechanism here in the channelings. So I hope you enjoy my musings on what the heck is happening behind the scenes in the world of energy, because I find these times to be some of the most powerful ones I think we've seen in a long time on Earth. So thanks for being a part of them, because this is a really interesting and potent level of the movie on Earth. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the channeling state. I'm going to bring RYOKAH of the Sasani forth. Once I'm in the state, he'll probably deliver a message. He usually has something he likes to say, something he likes to share. So I'll let him speak, of course, and then he'll open the floor for questions. For those of you watching through YouTube, which is, of course, where we're broadcasting this, you can type your questions into the chat box, and Starshine is going to comb through the questions and look for the ones that are the most resonant for the energy that we are collectively manifesting. So who knows what kinds of questions will get picked? The energy is always different. So we never know what we're going to get asked. And that's what makes this very fun, because I have no clue what any of you are going to ask. I'm just here doing my thing. And I'm like, well, I hope we say the right thing. And I think we do a lot of the times. So thanks for making that possible. I am only as talented as I am in this because I do this a lot with all of you, right? I find that doing this regularly makes this skill like a knife that is sharpened regularly. So it's never dull and you can't work with it, right? It keeps the channeling ability very clear, very penetrating when it's done this consistently. So thanks for being a part of this, and thanks for liking it, because I like it a lot too. And sharing it is my highest joy. So thank you. I'll go into the state. I'll see you when we're finished. Please have a great time, everybody. Yo, 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 oh, 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 Well, we thank you all for joining us for this co-creative interaction exchange that we share with one another this day of your times. Before we get into your questions, we have a few things we wish to remind you of. As the channel was explaining earlier, as you all know, the fall season contains within it the frequencies of change itself as a spiritual theme. So this is a time to be like the wind in a certain sense, to be like that fresh air that blows and knocks the leaves off the trees. Be like this in your efforts. Be like the wind, gentle, yet persuasive and consistent. Be like this as you move through the changes in your life and direct the changes in your life as the god or deity of the wind, blowing and sending air, sending magic, sending dreams into your life, into your world. What are we talking about here practically? For this month, all of you, as a simple spiritual thing, it's advisable. Pay attention to your breathing, pay attention to your lungs, and pay attention to the power of the exhale, because it is a programming breath. It's what you're sending out. So remember, if you make every inhale sacred, if you make every inhale as pleasing as possible, you do this through merging the higher and lower centers of the heart and the groin. If you do this with your breathing and breathe blissfully, openly, lovingly, when you exhale, you will be sending that into the world. Think of something you would like to change. Think of something you would like to see manifest over time in your life. And when you have a moment, just sit and feel as good as you can possibly feel. Practice a technique we've advised in the past, the inner smile, but bring yourself into joy through whatever means. And from here, breathe in that good feeling. Think of the universe around you. Think of the abundance of the universe and pull that abundance in and blend it with that feeling on the inhale. And feel you are receiving a gift. You are receiving a miraculous manifestation as you inhale. Hold the breath, charge the breath with all of that good energy. And then on your exhale, feel you are sending some of that energy into the reality that represents the change you would like to see. Share how good you feel with that future self, and that future self will be more likely to align with you, because remember, the future self you have changes based on your frequency. The past self that you have will change based off your frequency. These frequency changes are, of course, taking place in your here and now present moment. Therefore, your future self has the ability to alter its frequency to align with alternate past selves. You are one of them. If you want to increase the probability that that preferential future self will select you as the frequency of the past that it's connected to, send it loving energy. Don't just ask it for what it has. Bless it, send it that love, and it will feel a connection. That connection will be a bridge, and that future self, through your own higher mind, will guide you as to what steps you need to take to experience that dream world physically around you as real. So, you can make these changes now. You can always make them, but in fall, it is very abundant. Fall is about cultivating the strengths that you have been given, cultivating and refining and polishing the resources you've accumulated throughout the year. And it is also about changing, refining what needs to be changed. Spring, on the other hand, this is all about brand new growths, brand new beginnings, brand new relationships. For those in fall, this time it's a little different. This is more so about refining what is, not going too far past the limit of what you've created. Don't exceed yourself too much. That is the springtime and the summer. During fall, it is best to begin to gather and bring all of your experiences in, integrate them. That integration process really maximizes in winter. That's when the energy is at its densest. But in fall, that densification, that contraction is not fully finished. So during that process, you have the ability to fine-tune things, to let go of things. So when you go into a fuller contractive energy state in winter, it's going to be more pleasing. It's like what has contracted around you is the energy that you prefer. It's the densification of the dreams you've called forth. So you use fall to purify and to polish, to refine that which you have built and to make the changes that you need to make. Whenever there is chaos, there is a secret order. And between the chaos and order, you have the doorway to any change you wish to make. Chaotic times are not chaotic for all beings. So use all that life hands you as auspiciously as you can. And you will never be stopped. Because life will see that you are a good steward of the tools and will give you more. And God itself will become slightly more fascinated with your personal movie. When you're a channel for the source, of course the source must pay attention for you. So when you become the source avatar that you are, that power, that oneness, that creative principle, it sees through your eyes. It will express itself through you. You are this. It is the highest expression of you. And you are one of the most physical expressions of it. Think of it as a dreaming mind within an infinite body. You, the human being, are like the neurons, transmitting its messages into the dancing of the body, the movement of the body. So, have fun. And now we make ourselves available for your queries, if that is how you wish to engage with us this day.
Thank you, friend. That was very relevant for a lot of us, I'm sure, what you just shared.
You're
So
welcome.
the first question is from Yvonne. He asks, what are magnetodielectric fields, also known as scalar fields?
Sure. Well, these are energy emanations that exist on multiple levels of reality. And these types of fields, these types of scalar fields, as you're describing, can be replicated on Earth with technology, and they have. But these types of fields are connected to some of the frequencies of energy that are a part of the auras related to celestial bodies. So it is a type of basal organizational energy that expresses on many, 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 many levels. The scalar field is somewhat similar to your concept of a blueprint level, but it is more than this. It's not just a blueprint. It is like an energized blueprint. In other words, when an individual begins to work with scalar energies, the blueprint template level of them is activated if it's done properly. And that level is then energized. So it's not just that you become aware of your blueprint, you start to realign with it. It brings you back to the basal organization. So it can be very therapeutic. There's many healing applications of it. There are some that have devised certain ways of utilizing scalar energy for things that are similar to the functions of your electricity. They have been able to get it to perform in certain ways that produce what is similar to electrical power. It's not exactly the same. It's a different type of energy, but it can behave like it. It can follow similar rules. However, like Tesla, and how he learned how to send electricity through the air wirelessly, scalar energy can also be worked with in this capacity. It can also be wirelessly transmitted. So there's many applications. Healing is a big one. And at certain levels, energy production physically has been demonstrated before. So there are a few applications that can expand into many applications.
Thank you. Up next, we have, would you like to share anything on the US election?
Well, we have shared a great deal already. Vote on character. But we have something we will point out. This is not so much about the election per se, but it's just an observation to get you all thinking. Over the last few years, there have been many disasters, natural disasters, that have happened worldwide. But in your America, in your United States specifically, you have had Maui with the fires, and now you have certain regions of the South with the waters. Maui and the disasters that happened there, that was some time ago. What has happened to Maui? Where is the government? Where is the aid? Where are the helpers? We have something to tell you. There's not many of them there. It's the people having to rebuild. Right now, in the South, there's a similar pattern. Trucks are not shipping at the rates they are supposed to be. Supplies are not being brought down in the ways that they ought to be. And there have been reports of disruptions of relief efforts, sabotage. So that's happening now. These two things are foreshadowing what your national response will be currently if there are more disasters. This response of neglect is a response that appears to be an unofficial yet official response from what you would describe as your current administration. So that's something to think about. If you don't enjoy the current administration's real-time response to real-time national Earth challenges, then we would advise perhaps consider other options. Food for thought for all of you. Just look at what's happening in your world and how is your government, how is your current administration currently responding? How they're responding now, it's a foreshadowing of how they will respond. Do you want that? That's our advice for your election.
Thank you. Up next, we have, can you please speak on assisted suicide that's being legalized in Canada? Is this positive or inherently negative?
Your body has a built-in expiration date. Your soul also is aware of this. Sometimes the soul will withdraw itself before that official expiration date of the body. Sometimes the soul will energize the body so that expiration date gets pushed further back, more life force. Taking one's own life is not always an action that means exactly the same thing to each person. In many instances, suicide can be very harmful, especially if things like firearms are involved or strangulations. We don't mean to be graphic, but as you can see, there are many forms of suicide that are abusive to the body. They're hurtful to the body. That is then hurtful to the soul. And the soul dies thinking it's been tortured whilst seeking relief because your body doesn't know the difference. Your body just says someone's hurting me. The mind might say, I'm in control. Look, I'm finally able to control my destiny through this action of self-harm. The mind might think it knows what it's doing, but the body will just say, someone's hurting me. I'm being attacked. You see? It creates a type of schism within the soul body communication network. So once the suicide has actually been performed, the soul and body are not synchronized. The soul cannot orient. You still use your physical body to a certain degree, just as your space shuttles launch into the air and they maintain contact with ground control. This is the body, and it's the spiritual environment your body is in, physically speaking, at the moment of death. So those forces are still, that's why you have the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, because the soul that has left the body is still drawing influence from physical reality for a short period of time. So usually when people commit suicide, they're tortured to do it by something psychological. So that spiritual environment their body is left in, it's not a healthy environment. It's not a good one. And it makes things very challenging for their souls. So suicide can have major karmic implications. The escape an individual is seeking, they might not get it for lifetimes later if they commit suicide. It postpones a lot. Now, things like euthanasia. What about when a person is suffering? What about when a person is sick? Well, again, like we said, the body has an expiration date. Sometimes the soul will pick a different one. And of course, the mind is an extension of the soul. And if a person, of course, is suffering physically, they are close to death, their organs are not working, and if they are in a very loving environment, something like euthanasia can be beneficial for them because it can release them from the body before the body has gone through the complete collapse. When everything collapses, it's like the house falls apart and you get squeezed out. In that context, the euthanasia, while it does shut things down, it is a different type of approach than full collapse of everything. And keep in mind that these types of drugs that are used in euthanasia, they can be modified in ways where they are not as hurtful to the body. But keep in mind, the body will still think something is going on because, again, it is slightly unnatural. But that type of suicide is very different than the earlier example we gave. And the body's reaction to that earlier example, it's much more extreme. So the euthanasia in hospitals for the dying, those in hospice, that can be useful, that can assist. But it is also important for physicians to have a very strong sense of responsibility with this and to not assume their patient is a lost cause. Because the temptation is this person's a lost cause, we need to free up that hospital bed. They may attempt to talk patients into euthanasia because it's profitable. So physicians must be very careful not to do that. It can corrupt your medical system in a very unfortunate way. So they must be very discerning. There must be a process that allows for it to be obvious whether the person truly needs that or not, and if there are more options available to them. Of course, your life is your life, but your life is also a gift that you're holding. So whatever you choose in your life, remember, it is a shared thing. There's no isolated action. Everything you do ripples. So be gentle with your actions towards yourself and towards others. Be loving towards yourself and towards others. And do keep in mind that these types of things, this type of euthanasia medicine, they have existed before. Other cultures have used them. This is not the first time humanity's worked with this. But again, humanity is at a very delicate stage right now. And that's a very powerful power to work with at a delicate time. So, discernment.
Okay, thank you. Up next, which ET civilization's main collective conflicts of those that are connected to humanity and the most prevalent on Earth, and how do they manifest here? In example, the Middle East conflict.
What? Can you say that again? That's many questions in one question. Let's break that down. Is there an ET group in conflict with humanity whom has a current role on Earth and also is present in the Middle East? So you're asking, are there malefic ETs that don't like humans involved in your world affairs? 100%, absolutely. Who are they? Well, it's not as if it's one species. It's an organization. Many of you say, oh, the reptilians are dominating us, the Greys are abducting us, the mantises are probing us. What's going on? It's a club. It's a conglomerate. It's a group of different species that come together. And they have certain agendas for the earth, just like you have certain agendas for the earth, just like your religions have certain agendas for the earth, just as your earth has a certain agenda for the earth. All players on earth have their own agendas. You all do too. As spiritual people, you have your own spiritual agendas. They have theirs. They're the opposite polarity to which you represent. You have to remember, when what you call good and evil have to overcome one another, it makes a higher good than if good were just left on its own with no challenge. So don't vilify them too much because they're paid actors in the movie of life, just like you are. So don't hate them too much. Of course, they play a villainous role. Yes, they are working with energies that cause people to become much more likely to behave in savage ways. They feed into religious extremism. They feed into what you would call reptilian psychological behaviors in people. They push that because they want to keep humanity down, because humanity was not always down. There was a time when humanity was a force to be reckoned with. And there was a time when humanity actually dominated certain regions of the cosmos. This is another story for another time. But certain beings saw what you all were made of and did not like it. So they sought to keep your people down through installing certain systems and through becoming similar to you. So what are the beings? What do they look like that are a part of this collective we are referring to? Some of them are reptilian. Some of them are gray. Some of them are human. Some of them are from Orion. A few are connected to the scorpionic systems proximating Antares. Some are from Sirius. Some are from one of the Pleiadian stars. Just like your countries, not everyone sees eye to eye. And of course, they're permitted to do what they do. Because through your own systems that you have all consented to, you have permitted this. This is why we say you must become organizers in your lives and also in your society. You tacitly consent to many things without realizing it. But this is why many apparent spiritual atrocities seem to happen. It's powered by the people and their consent, which they are unaware that they are giving. So this group's power, it's only by unconscious consent that it can exercise power over you. But it's been around for a while.
Okay, thank you. Up next, how do I show empathy to people that are, say, sad or low esteemed without matching their frequency?
Why are you afraid to match their frequency? Why are you afraid to put yourself in their shoes? Are you not being empathic? Are you not an empathic person? That's the definition of empathy. You must match the energy of the person and put yourself in their shoes. If you believe that's going to hurt you, you're not being empathic, you're being protective. That's okay. We understand. Of course, you want to protect yourself. Energy can be very uncomfortable sometimes. Other people can be very uncomfortable sometimes. Their suffering can be uncomfortable sometimes. We understand this. Nevertheless, that should not stop you from using that superpower of empathy and putting yourself in their position. How else will you help them if you really don't know what they're going through? You can only know what they are going through if you become them a little bit. So you don't have to permanently become them, but really put yourself in their shoes. This is very important. Please pay attention to this. We're coughing as we say it. This is very important. Put yourself in their shoes. Let yourself be humble, be open as you can be. Put yourself in their shoes and look at their life from their own perspective. How did they get in this situation that's made them sad? What were the choices that led them there? What are the beliefs they were probably holding on to? You'll only see that if you get into their mind. You won't see that from the outside. You'll have to intuit it, and you might get some hints, but that's going to be very different than what you'll get if you match their energy and become them. Once you have matched their energy and have temporarily become them, then go back to your usual frequency. And now you can actually be empathic towards them because you've seen what they're going through with your energy body. The only thing that will hold you there is if you keep choosing to match their energy of suffering. Just don't focus on that once you understand it. This is the art of letting go. If you don't know how to let go of something you've scanned, you're going to be carrying all of these things around with you. So once you've put yourself in your friend's shoes and felt those emotions and seen what those thought processes and belief structures are, once you're here, retreat from this. Choose, okay, I'm going to put my friend's energy down and feel that. I am releasing that. Thank you for that information. Thank you for being such a good friend and letting me see you like that. Thank you for being so vulnerable and trusting me. I'm going to raise my frequency now. Okay, now I'm going to be more capable of assisting you. Now that I'm back up here, I'm actually higher than I was before because I was willing to go down low and meet you. And now that I'm higher than before, we can both rise even higher together. When you're willing to lower your frequency to assist the other, when you're finished, you're going to go higher than before. You realize we talk about this. We evolve when we speak to all of you. I have lowered my frequency significantly to have the conversation. This is not of detriment to me. This is a part of interaction. So do not fear the rising and falling of energies, or you will feel fearful when your own energy rises and falls. So when you have to raise or lower yourself to assist someone else, don't take it personal. You're just getting in the proper headspace so you can really see what you're dealing with, so you can really be of assistance. If your friend does not detect that you know what they're going through and you're just saying nice words to them, it will not really be healing. But if they can sense you have seen what they've gone through, any advice you give, they will hear it. It will resonate. So it's a superpower, empathy, to be able to adjust your frequency to match that of another. All we're saying, don't stay there.
Makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, as you read the energies now, when will the ETs land or show themselves in India?
Well, they are already revealing themselves in India, but this is not happening in the cities. This is happening within certain villages and what you might call semi-tribal communities. So there are some groups that have had ongoing relationships with these beings. Various, you could say, extraterrestrial groups whom have worked with these humans generationally over time. So it's not just in India. You'll find the Native Americans, also called Indians at one point, they have the same kind of relationship with these beings, where they have had over their generations many visitations, ongoing communications. So some of the groups that are currently interacting with people in India, some of these groups, not all of them are extraterrestrials whom descend. Some of them are extraterrestrials whom are ascending up out of your earth. And these are more connected to the beings that you call the Nagas, but it's not specifically the Nagas. The beings of Sirius also have had a strong role with certain groups within India. The beings of the Pleiades have also had a strong role with certain groups in India, and the beings of Orion have had a very strong communication and relationship with beings in India. These three groups primarily. And of course, the Nagas, a type of reptilian species, they also have a strong relationship. Now, how long until some of these groups physically make contact in a collective way for people in India? They will begin to up the ante soon. You're moving closer to what has been called the fulcrum of contact, as described by the being Bashar. This is 2027. The changes you're going through on Earth now are designed to help push your people a little bit So you all come together, and in your unity, a window is opened. And that's when some of these things can happen that are the landings. The landings, the union with us, it's a side effect of you and your neighbor, you and your family, you and your species coming together. That is the final twisting of the key within the ignition. When you achieve that, the door is open. And it is proximal to 2027 when you will reach this place of connection and where we will then walk with you into a new aeon. How that looks, we will not disclose now. It's not necessarily time now. But as you get closer, you will have visions of it. As you get closer, we will explain these visions. If only we could say everything. But to say it all might be a little much. But we will, of course, give you this. Imagine going to sleep at night. You enter into your dream world. And then imagine you see that your dream world is shaped like a sphere. And it begins to glow like a star in the night sky. And you zoom out and see there are many stars all around you, the dream worlds of your friends, your family, the dream worlds of gods and goddesses, beings from all of creation dreaming together. And you see that all of these nodes of light that are the dream worlds, they're all connected by bridges of light, making a super constellation the size of the night sky. Something like this, but you're awake. And it's not disorienting. It's natural. It's putting into the light connections that have always been there. But once you're aware of those connections, they'll become a part of your physical conscious mind. And your whole operating system will become updated as a human being. As a collective human psyche, everything will start to change. How people look at everything will be different. Your current opinions as a people about certain matters right now will become very different once these activations happen, because you'll see things for what they are. You'll understand more clearly the nuances between things that look similar, but might actually produce different results or might have different effects in physical reality. You'll be able to see energy. You will be able to feel energy. You will be able to see and feel and hear multidimensionals. This is physically speaking. They might not be physical, but you will be able to see them like they are physical. Many of the UFOs that begin to show up while everyone's looking up and filming, it's important at least one of you is checking out whom is in the audience, because we will start projecting to see what you do, see who notices. So there will be many things that start to happen. It's going to get wiggly. There will be many people that will say this is your government. There will be many people that say this is a hallucination. There will be many people that say this is demonic. And we are here to say there's a reason we love triangles. So when people wonder what we are, we show them our symbols. Those who know the language of energy will know what our symbol for the Sasanian people, the black triangle with the blue glowing border. Those whom truly know us will know what our symbol means. So, you have spent time with us. You know us. You might not know us physically, but you know us. Many will not. But nevertheless, they will sense us coming. So, even though there will be all types of speculation as to what's going on, you will have access to everything we have told you over the years. Let it guide you. And of course, we shall continue to do so as we move together through that portal.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Up next, how can someone quit long-term everyday weed addiction?
by no longer defining it as long-term everyday weed addiction. If that's how you're labeling it, you'll never stop because you can't stop it like that. You've defined it as every day. In order to it to no longer be daily, you have to give it a different definition. And you have to create a completely different relationship to cannabis. So maybe in your bedroom, you have your smoking paraphernalias and the herbs just clearly out. Well, if you're not going to be a smoker every day, well, you have no need to keep that stuff out in the open. Put it away somewhere. If it's a water pipe, take the water out. You don't need it right now. You don't smoke every day. Yes. If you're used to laying around eating a lot of yummy food because of the addiction, well, put some of that food away. If you're eating only snacks because you have munchies, well, get rid of the snacks. You don't live that way anymore. You're not going to lay around because you're not smoking all day, so maybe go for a run. That's what a person who does not smoke every day would likely do, exercise their body. So you must be willing to become the person who does not smoke every day. And the first step is defining yourself as such and imagining what you can do right now with the tools that you have that help you to create a little bit of that new self freshly, right here, right now. Don't put it off. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week. Do it today. What else do you have going on? If you're smoking weed all day, you may not have a lot. And we're teasing you. We are teasing you. We understand marijuana, cannabis is a medicine. It is a supplement, and it can truly assist people. We're only being playful because of the way the question was worded. You may be very hardworking. You may be very disciplined. We don't mean to sound so presumptive. We're just attempting to make a joke. So the key here is become that new self, become that new person, and use those accessible steps and tools that you have right now to take immediate action on that thing. When you fantasize about the self you will become, don't just let it escape you. Grab that dream and pull it into you. Breathe it in. That inspiration you feel when you want to make the change, don't just let it go into the air. Grab it, yank it, anchor it in, and say, stay with me, never leave me. I am yours, inspiration. And then ride that into the action. That is our suggestion for you.
Great, thank you. Up next is what beliefs are responsible for the occurrence of seborrheic dermatitis?
Well, if there could be more description in this medical terminology we're being provided, that would be useful in relationship to the symptomology specifically. What are you experiencing? We understand it is related potentially to the skin. There may be certain issues with the skin. There may be itching or redness or irritation of your skin, but we need to know specifically for a medical question. And the channel is an acupuncturist, so we can talk about these things. It's not an issue. But for this, we need a lot more information because you might do what we say. And if we do not say what is specific to you, you might do something that is perhaps not appropriate for you. And because it's your body, that might not be good. So we need to know what's going on in order to more deeply answer that question to your highest benefit.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just see the second part of this. He says it's on the face when eating certain foods. I don't know if that helps or not, but.
And what is the symptom? What is the symptom? Is it itching? Is it irritation? Is it flaky, bleeding skin? What's going on the face when he's eating food? We need to know. Again, this is not the place for this question. No offense. It's all right. But again, as you can see, we have to probe a little bit. This is a medical question. This should not be over text. This needs to be over video. We can address it here if there's more that will clarify it, but for future reference, if you have a medical question, please speak to us one-on-one. We're happy to address it with you, but you need that kind of attention. It's disrespectful of us to give you medical information casually. So we have to talk about that in the appropriate context.
Okay, great. Then let's move on to how can we drop expectation from our lives so that we can allow greater things into our lives that are beyond our wildest expectation?
Don't get rid of expectation. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. When you call your wife, do you not expect that your wife loves you? If you expected anything other than that, would you not be setting yourself up for some problems? If you did not expect that your job, your occupation would be there for you the next day. If you did not expect that, would you not feel a little insecure? Expectations, not bad. Don't get rid of expectation. Don't get rid of anything. You don't need to. There's nowhere for it to go. It's all right here, right now. So don't get rid of anything. Transform it. Your brain has the magical ability to create something called an expectation. We're here to tell you that's a positive, useful thing. And if you try to manifest without them, you will have limited results. Because at the end of your manifestation exercises, if you do not expect that your exercise was successful and worked, if you don't expect that, well, your mind will look at something else. I don't know what happened. Who knows what could happen? When you're in that state, a few things can happen. You open up the door to high possibility that you are not biasing. So really anything can happen. But also because your mind doesn't have anything to anchor on as an expectation, it can make the mind insecure, the ego. It can make it not fully trust what's been done. And this can actually delay or warp or even eliminate the energy of the manifestation exercise. So you need some expectation. Do you not expect you will get some benefit from being here with us? That is clearly what's brought you here. You believed it would benefit you. That's an expectation. I believe this is good for me. I expect it to be good. Of course, because I believe it's good. If I didn't expect it to be good, that would indicate I did not believe it was good. So expectation is good. Now, expectation is different from what has been classically called lusting for results. Let's say someone does a manifestation ritual for a new car. Lusting for results would be, oh, I can't wait till I get that car. I'm so bored right now. I don't have that car yet, but I know it's coming, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys want to do today? And then the person's not even focusing on it anymore. They're all over the place because they're not unified by the expectation. The expectation gives them the focus point. Here's a different example. A person manifesting the car and they have the expectation that it worked. They have just finished their ritual. Wow, thank you, most powerful earth and sky, for that ritual. Thank you for helping me to hold this energy within me. I can feel this exercise has worked. I know it's worked and is real. Thank you. I stay in this state and I stay open. I pay attention to the steps that lead to the realization of this car, this automobile. Thank you for guiding me. Thank you for this assured victory in my pursuit. When you open your eyes and keep that focus, and you move every day towards the car. Maybe that's looking at cars online. Maybe that's buying and selling cars. Maybe that's buying a cheap car and fixing it up. But it doesn't matter what it is, because that focus that comes from the expectation will help you to see what that next step is. Because a lot of people, again, they stay so open when they do these manifestation exercises. When they're done, they're so open, they don't know what to do next. Well, I guess I just wait for it to happen. And they end up not taking the actions that open the door. So expectation is good. Expectation is positive. Expectation is useful. Anything else is a negative belief system about expectations, an unnatural negative definition of expectations. They are neutral things. They are meant to support you and serve you. They're not meant to bind you. You can have expectations that are not good, that cause problems in your life, that hurt you and others, but that's a negative expectation. Again, we have a transmission coming up, the language of energy. We're going to be talking about all this very in-depthly. Because keep in mind, energy is multifaceted. As we are explaining all of these laws or rules that the energy follows, there are inverse versions of all of these laws and rules that must also be emphasized. So keep in mind that energy is complex. Nevertheless, it follows patterns and rules that can be predicted, that can be followed, and that can be optimized for creation.
Thank you. Up next, where did the sun come from and how many years ago did this happen?
Well, you have to keep in mind that your sun is not just a isolated star. You must keep in mind that your sun expresses as one of many suns that are a part of what you might call a Christ consciousness network. In terms of the energies behind that network, if you were to give it a shape, it's a five-pointed star representing the power of the five elements put together. In your Hebrew, this would be Yod, He, Vav. One moment, we are going to translate this. Again, it's another language. The channel's been practicing, so we could say this. One moment. Yod, He, Shin, Vav, He. These are the five elements. It is this level of consciousness that is Christ consciousness, that is the five elements, that is the scaffolding for what you call solar consciousness, that expresses as every sun. How were these suns formed? We had mentioned in the beginning the imagery of the wind god. The original creator beings were very similar to massive beings, almost made of cosmic dust, blowing into the early universe, causing clusters of cosmic dust clouds to begin to spiral and coalesce, because this wind that was blown has spiritual dreams, has spiritual programs that gets the cosmic particles to behave in certain ways. So the sun was the first one made for your solar system. Out of the other planets, it was the sun first. The other planets are made out of your sun. The same cosmic building blocks that ignited the sun, those building blocks have been dispersed throughout all of the other planetary matrices within the solar system. So your Earth is made of your sun. It's made of other things too, but it's made of your sun. All of your planets are. So the sun was first. It's been here since the beginning. And of course, this goes back quite far. The number begins with a B, so it's quite old. But keep in mind, the pattern behind it that births all suns, this pattern is eternal. No beginning, no end. Excellent question. We thank you, audience that has joined us this day. Many of you we know are from the Sasana universe. We welcome you here. We thank you for your questions. Those of you that have been following our work in these teachings for some time, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. It is with great joy we get to illuminate these queries that you present to us. We thank you for hearing all reflections of us and what we have to share. Your openness is medicinal, and it is so nice because, as you know, not all of humanity demonstrates openness, especially not towards extraterrestrials, let alone extra dimensionals. So we appreciate your collective openness, and we appreciate the rainbow bridge of infinite possibility and focused preference that we together build, leading to your new Earth, leading to your new Aeon. Good day, good night, and good now.
Good now.
Okay.
Welcome
Sweet.
back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be back. Wow, what a powerful session. Thanks for hosting that and helping to attract such great questions. And yeah,
Of course.
it's wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah,
and thank
that's a
you.
great one. Great questions too, guys.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. It was really nice to receive that from you all. I hope you liked the answers. I know I certainly did. I only remember about 2 seconds of them, but I remember liking them. So, in case you're all wondering, I am starting to completely like black out when I am channeling at this point. For me, I was sort of quasi-conscious, like I go in and out. These days, I maybe remember the opening, but then after that, it's like I fall asleep. So everything that's coming through, it's very just whatever they're saying. So thanks for receiving it. And I appreciate that, you guys. We'll see you soon. And our love and supports you always. Stay dry, stay safe, do what you can to help people, and use these times to bring people up, and it will pay off. It's one of the best things we can do right now. So thanks for being there for us. We're here for you, and let's be there for each other.